What do we have so far? We have 0 concurrent viewers. Oh, now we got 1. That might be me, though. Oh, that's good. Nope, Cody's here. Oh, now we got 11. My number is just 11-fied. Joey, John. What's up, Chris? Just you and I. Oh, yeah, we have a few people here. Look at this. Matt, Chris, Ripley, Tank, John. We're up to 18. 21. 23. Sounds like a Satriani song. Oh yeah, we got a few people. Hold on. I really like having that slider there for my cough button. All right. Speaking of cough, fee. Hey now. No problem, Timothy. Yeah, you can watch that replay. We get into everything in that one. Picks, bugs. That's about it. Oh, it's a smorgasbord. It is a buffet of... Guitar addiction is crazy. $250,000 worth of equipment and guitars. You know, if it makes you happy. You know, I probably have $1,000 worth of picks here. Which, you know, a lot of people think is a little crazy. But I love them. I'm in deep. I'm arranging them now. What am tonight? I think this is dual heavy rig, right? Did I move off a dual heavy rig? No, because I thought this is dual heavy rig. I thought it sounded a little more randy. The other one is just a single amp. But it's got the stereo effects. This one is 2 amps. That's double. Oh, thanks, J-Man. See, J-Man knows that this is not an Ibanez Les Paul. Les Paul's registered trademark of the Gibson Corporation. He correctly identifies it as every Ibanez is identified. It's a 2350. Oh, Ibanez. That's why we love you. The 2350. Just got your first mandolin. I've never really... I have a mandolin. I have a double neck mandolin. And I never play it. My son has it in his room. I should play a synth sometimes. I like the synths. I'll do some synths sometime. I feel like my mic's a little far away. There it goes. A little better there. Hold on. There we go. Sounds good? Yeah. Yeah, so like one of the first riffs I learned, it would be on this guitar, not this exact guitar, but a guitar that looked pretty much like it. Was probably... That's definitely one of the very first riffs. And I want to say a close second is probably... But of course, I think the kid who showed it to me was like... Because he couldn't hear that shit. Neither could I. I was like, well, that sounds like it. Sure. Trying to think of other early songs. When I say early, I literally mean 1980. Right? We did that in the band with Ziggy. We had Tommy Del Zoppo singing. He was the quarterback of the football team. And although he was a gorgeous hunk of man meat, Buddy can attest to that, he couldn't sing. And we replaced him with a chubby drummer who was losing his hair, but could play the drums really well and could really sing. Guy was a pretty decent singer. I remember the first time we played rock and roll with him, we looked at each other and we're like, oh, what are we doing? You know? What are you doing, buddy? Just checking things out. There's kind of a... hold on. I'm gonna... Hold on, bud. There you go. There you go. I'm gonna move this out of your way there, kid. How's that? Yeah, see? Then you have a little place. Yeah, there you go. It's a little buddy spot. There's no room over here. You know that. No, we didn't do Smoke on the Water. I'm trying to think. Did we do that to start? I don't think so. I think we did Planet Claire. Because that was the vocal range of the singer we had. That was what that's how good Tommy Del Zoppo could sing. Fucking Tommy! And then, we once we got the new dude, that's when we were doing. Well, Buddy doesn't talk in words. That'd be very pedestrian. No, Buddy talks through interpretive dance. And then, what else did we do in that band? We did Foxy Lady. We weren't doing, not in that band. That was like the first, so it was me and Scott on drums and Steve on guitar. That was the first, that was 3 of us. Then Scott had to take his drums, and then it was Ziggy and me and Tom Hughes singing. I forget the bass player. We were trying out bass players. I remember we tried out a bass player, and that guy showed up. He was like, oh, because we were like freshmen in high school, and he was like, oh. And he was like a senior. He was like, yeah. It's the 2350. What kind of amp and effects? This is a complicated one. It's very complicated. It's extremely complicated. So the signal chain starts out with a quiet pedal, but I don't have the quiet pedal on. So here, that's with the quiet pedal on. That's with the quiet pedal off. I keep the quiet pedal off unless I'm playing a Strat. Then we have a chorus set on like bare minimum, but I don't know, it makes the right sound with it. That's it off. That's it's on. You probably didn't hear a huge difference, but there is a little difference. DV Mark in one channel, then there's a channel splitter. DV Mark in one. The England Burn Sphere. Just don't call it an Engel Fireball, because that would be a registered trademark. That's in the other channel. Then back to another mixer again that mixes it back together and sets up the panning, which isn't exactly the same. The pans are a little different, and so are the levels, just a little bit. And then the digital delay, which is set to stereo. Digital reverb, which is also set to stereo. And then comes the cab. Now that's an interesting layout. When you look at this, most of the layouts, the cab would come after the amps, or really after the mixer, because you have 2 amps. So it'll tie it back together again and it'll run through the cab. And then will be the delay and the reverb, but this is the reverse. Does it make a difference in the sound? Sure. Sure. Hey, what's up, Johnny Kramer? Was I playing any Def Leppard back in the day? Not really, actually. Def Leppard was they're a tough band. right? Because they're so produced, you know. You know, it was hard to get the sound that they were doing. The songs aren't very complicated, but they're more difficult than they you know, there's a lot of melodic weaving going on there between the players. I actually saw them recently on Stern playing in the studio with Vivian Campbell. You know, and Phil Collins. Or Colin. And one of them's Colin and one of them's Collins. Ugh. Actually, I can't share my screen because it's the same screen as it would look like a mirror. You know what I'm saying? Like a deep mirror. That's why I have to use the other one whenever I do the screen sharing for the web. Foiled by separate. So I'm trying to think of other tunes we did with that band. I forget if we did other songs. We had an original. Something like that. Yeah. Kind of very Cars-like. Heard it on the radio a couple of years later. Because the drummer had made a cassette of us playing it. And then his latest band just stole it. Even though he didn't write the song. He might have wrote some of the lyrics and figured that was enough. And they put it out. They put it out. And when I heard it on the radio, I said, you know what? That song does kind of suck. No, the Ibanez, this is my Ibanez. Sometimes I think you guys just never watch any of my videos. You don't, this Ibby, the long story about this Ibby and all its Ibbiness. Huh, that feels a little bright. Let's, let me see, how? Oh, how? Like that. Ah, there you go. Hello, hello. How are you looking? Looking a little better? That's a new bridge. When I got it, it was kind of rusted out. So new bridge and tailpiece, and of course the pickups are DiMarzio super distortions. Because in 1980, when I had a guitar that was exactly like this, but not this exact guitar, this is exactly what it looked like. But you know what? I did have one difference. Mine had Grovers. The guy before who owned it before me put Grovers in it. And, so it had a different looking headstock with the Grovers on it, obviously. All right, where the hell's the chat? I'm off the chat here. Chatty. No, this Ibanez has never had blackouts in it. I had one other one, but it had Seymour Duncan pickups in it, and one of them was an MJ, right? MJ wound, which are you can't really get a lot more money for them, but they will sell instantly versus a non-MJ wound, as people like the fact that it's an MJ wound. And I want to say it was the Duncan Distortion, I think. Is that what it was? The DD's Duncan Distortion? And I think one was wound by Lydia LD, and then the other one was MJ. And before I sold that one, I actually pulled those pickups out, and I stuck just a couple of cheap Chinese gold-like tops in them, like metal gold tops, but they were garbage pickups. And they squealed like crazy. And so when I put it in the ad, I said the pickups are unpotted and they squeal like crazy with any distortion. So you'll want to change the pickups, And the guy bought the guitar, paid full price. I met him down at the, at the local Applebee's. And we did the deal in the parking lot. And I mentioned to again, I said, listen, I don't know if you noticed in the ad, these pickups really squeal. He goes, oh, no, I noticed it. He goes, it's kind of hard to get unpotted pickups that squeal like crazy. He goes, and I'm like one of those noise guitarists. He goes, I couldn't be more thrilled that it has garbage unpotted pickups in it, like ready to go, and I don't have to like find that and put them in it. I'm like, cool, dude. Cool. You be you. Turlon pick is right there. Little Turlon. Of course, I got the new jumbo. Extra jumbo. And a new orange. Go to down here. Oh yeah, there you go. I don't even want to play this one. I want to scratch it. It's like I buy all these picks and I'm like, don't scratch my picks, bro. I'm setting up a display case. Exactly. Exactly. I have to put a mosquito in one of these. Dino DNA. I play very cleanly. Well, you want a clean sound? People say they want that, and then you switch to it, and they miss it. Then they miss it, and they're like, go back to the distortion. I'll get back to the old chat group here. Just plain me. Well, you know what? Why don't I go through this all the time. Here is just the guitar. Straight in. Is Is that what you want to hear? That's nothing. No amp at all. I think that sounds like crap. It's like, sometimes I think you want to fail. Anyway, I'm going back to my effects because that's the way I like it. That's the way, Yeah, but what's the point? It's still going over all kinds of compression. If you ever heard me in real life, I sound nothing like this. All YouTube videos are a lie. Everybody knows that. Besides, you'll never know what it sounds like until you play through a tube amp, clean, with no reverb. Where the hell that ever came from? That's the old, well, you should never learn to play, guitar on electric guitar. You have to learn on acoustic guitar. Everybody knows that. Would you learn on electric? Shame. Ugh. Balls to the wall. But do people really sit there and play through an amp with absolutely no reverb and no delay? Because I just think that sounds like shit. That was a selling point on amps when I would sell amps. I would say, you can buy one of these little amps with no reverb, but they sound like shit. You buy an amp with a little bit of reverb, and at least it sounds halfway decent. And I'd play a little bit through both, and it'd be like, you're right. It shows talent, no effects. Okay. You think I could hand this guitar to somebody who doesn't know how to play guitar and it would sound like this? Because you are living in a fucking dream world. It's like seriously? At the base of all decent sounding playing is decent playing. You think anyone could just pick up a guitar and it would sound like that? It's got to be someone with a modicum of skill. But, you know what you reminded me? Clean time is over. Although I do have this other clean one I like. Right by it. It's a brighter patch. I got a couple up in the high stuff that it was kind of based on, I think, the Friedman. Is it Friedman? Let me take a look here. No. Yeah, that's not the right one. that's not the right one either. Again, where is it? That's the Maz, which I think is, I don't even know what that is. You know, they can't really use the real names because they don't have the copyright, the trademark. So it's all in friggin' code. That sounds good, though. This one. No, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Oh no, he's getting the chugs out. That's actually not a bad amp sound, huh? All right, I'm going back. Where did we all start? That's dual heavy rig. We use this one a lot too. Do. Nice. A super reverb. I think they have a super reverb. They must, right? You know what the problem is? They can't call it a super reverb, right? So now you're code breaking. You're like, all right, one of these, is it the SR? And you're like, well, no, I think there was a brand SR, right? You know. All right, hold on. Their window management's pretty bad, actually. Let me take a look here. Can I find what are we looking for again? We were looking for super reverb. I know they got PV in here too, but super reverb. It might just be under like F style. Well, this one says S Rev, so I'm feeling good. Yeah. I don't know if that's it or that has a distortion pedal. You know, remember they can add distortion pedals. That's pretty plain. That's just an amp and a reverb. And they just call it bright. Trem? Yeah, Trem. They're adding more effects, I think, as we're going up the chart here. This is from the amp. In other words, the distortion is from the amp. There's no distortion pedal. This is why you have to read it. Got a tube screamer. And then, oh, this is a double, a split rig. I like that. I like the split rig. We'll go to the all neck. Yeah. Sure. I think that was their attempt at the super reverb. Did it do it? Nobody knows. This isn't one of my standard. This has got the delay only in one ear. I think I'm in much better shape now than I was, like, playing-wise earlier tonight. I was struggling to play earlier because I had just spent all this time with a paintbrush in my hands, and I swear to God, my muscles were just sort of a little, I think, crampy from, I'm so friggin' old, you know, just from holding that big paintbrush and painting that, you know, for 20 minutes prior to going on camera. It was not the warm-up my hand needed. I know, I don't think my arm looks as swollen, does it? You know? Well, my wrist is still leaving a little bit of a dent there. I'll leave that off, yeah. EVH or Charvel, you know, they're both so good. It's hard to choose between those two. You know, they both have so many positives going for them that, you know, it feels when you're playing and you know, they're probably the same, but it feels when you're playing the EVH like it's a smaller guitar. Like the neck is closer, the nut is closer to the start of the body than the Charvel. But it could be a very negligible difference. It does have a more compact feel to the guitar, though, versus the Charvel, which just feels like a Strat. That is a Harley Benton Big Tone right there. The old Big Tone. Have a good one, Timothy. No problem, buddy. Have a good one, Michael. Thanks for hanging out. Ken says I always play my best at night. I find the same thing as well. You know, the worst time to play. Singers say the same thing, that the worst time to sing is in the morning. And they go, it's not even that you're singing. It's just that, like, as your muscles just get more blood flow through them, and they just sort of warm up. And, you know, singing at night is a lot easier than singing in the morning. And I agree about the playing. Same thing. Playing in the morning, it feels like a much more of a chore, much more difficult than playing at night now. Yeah, some movement up there. Oh, good bud, man. I was hoping he would find that. Is that right here? Yeah. Oh, that's the cat. That's a freaking cat running around up there. That's a little crazy cat time going on. No, buddy, I have you know, those like microfiber soft zip up coats. You know, they're sort of like a spring or a fall coat. Little zip up. And I have it over there at the end of the table, sort of folded up, and he found it, and he is all curled up on my coat, which I'm sure is very warm and much more squishy than the table. So he's all curled up. He's like, yeah, no, I'm cool. I can hang here. This is good. I've never owned a Firebird. My dad had a bunch of Thunderbirds once, but we never owned a Firebird guitar. Yeah, no, there's some cat. Yeah. Oh yeah, somebody's got something. I don't know what Gore-Tex is, but like microfiber, you know what I'm saying? They're sort of soft. It's like it almost feels like wool, but it's not. It's actually a microfiber. Yeah, like a fleece. Yeah. There you go. Fleece. He's in me fleece. Try one of these. See, thing is, I don't even want to scratch it. Look at that thing. Resin sounds tiny bit different than the acrylic. Acrylic sounds a little bit of a scrape, a little bit of a tug, a little tugger. Same there though. right? A little bit of a scrape as the pick comes off of it. The Tour one will chirp, but as I pull off of it, there's absolutely no scrape. You can't, you can use it like a slide, but once it's on it, there's no sound from the movement on the string, right? I've never had a Gretsch. I've never owned a Gretsch guitar. We got 4 cats. Hold on, I gotta move this, and then we're gonna go here. Yeah, their window management isn't particularly good on THU. I mean, it works, but there's shortcuts that are built in the windows that would make it go a little. Now I think I'm way too early. Where is it? It's down. There's Super Cab. Dual heavy rig. I'm just going back to dual heavy rig. And I'll move this out of the way so I can see the chat. I don't have the Rock Eye package. You know who's got the Rock one is, didn't Amplitude, doesn't Amplitude have it? Feels a little out. Right now I'm using THU. Any Magnatone models? I don't know. I don't have any that I know of. In other words, someone might have done a Magnatone rig, right? Because they have a whole rig thing, just kind of like their version of like profiling, Kemper profiling. But no one wants to call it profiling because I think Kemper kind of has that terminology locked up. But it's like basically a rigs. That I don't know. They might have because Magnatone is a pretty big brand out there. But I don't think so. Not in the like the built-in amps, the THU. I've never seen Magnatone unless they call it, like something else, magma tone. Ton of magma. Oh, right, rock guy instead of rock man. They're just, right, in Satriani pack. Johnny's got it right. That's right. Right, as a part of the Satriani pack, because he used it for, like, one of his tunes. He used that, and I think Def Leppard used it for the clean tones, right? Didn't Def Leppard use the Rockman for some of the clean stuff back in the day? Yeah, God, the Rockman. I don't think I'm redlining. No, I'm below the red. I'm averaging right at the top of green, and I'm peaking right at the top of yellow, and I'm never really hitting red all that much. Maybe halfway through red tops, which is still below zero, right? Yeah, right. At least on a Hysteria, sure. I don't think I know any Tears for Fears. Like I say, you could fill a book with the songs I don't know, and I'll buy that book, and I'll put it on a shelf. Ugh. Really, you think with Gen Xers? I think it goes into millennials. Gen Xers were really like what 63, 64 starts the transition into Gen X. By 65, it's pretty much Gen X. That goes through about 1980. There's plenty of rock dudes that were born in 1980 to 1985, 1990. Plenty. Once you get past there, once you get to Gen Z, you might have a point. I don't use speaker. Well, the speaker in the software is I think it's a Marshall cab. Is it a Marshall cab? Let's take a look here. It is. It's a Marshall. Yeah. They call it an M Vintage with a font that looks curiously similar to the Marshall font. But they can't call it. It's M Vintage. No, I'm full on Gen X. A lot of people would say Gen X started in 1960. Some would say 63. Certainly by 64, absolutely. What's up, Sassy Cat? Speaker. No, the new headphones, which are, I have to say, from Superfan Rax Effects, are friggin' awesome. I keep them over there. In fact, recently I got some new patches for the Korg, and you can't load them in without the editor librarian, so you have to get it going with the computer, link it up, get the editor librarian going, and then once you're in the librarian, you can say import bank and go in and just import, and it brings in everything. And then you can sort it. You can say, how do you want it to show up, like in the Korg and everything, sort out all the patches. And then once I have that done, the Korg is the last synth that I don't have hooked up to like everything else. Like I have the Modiax, the new Hydra synth. I got everything all hooked up through the system except for the Korg. That's the one that hasn't made it yet, and I think I'm out of inputs. So, because I can only plug in 3 devices, and I think all 3, I have 6 slots in the stereo. I think all 6 are taken. So, I had the headphones out just to make sure that the patches took and everything was working. And my God, did that Korg sound friggin' good in those headphones. It really does sound unbelievable. I don't think I could ever use them here because these are open back, right? Those are closed back, which is really good because it's right next to the HVAC system, which is kind of noisy. But when you put them on, they're pretty isolating. These, you hear everything in the room because they're open back. And I actually kind of like that, so I can hear it when people are upstairs, and I can hear when someone's calling me or anything like that when I'm wearing the headphones. So I didn't realize how much I needed that when I'm in my general use until I was wearing those. And I'm like, wow, these are really isolating. I am like not hearing too much outside of these headphones. They're big cups too, like they're ear covering cups. And no, they sound friggin' amazing. I actually sort of cleaned these, refurbished them a little bit. Just wiped them down and got them cleaned up a little bit. You can actually brush out the ear pads and clean them up, get them nice and kind of fluffy again. Will I ever buy a PRS? Someday. Who are these people? People! Do you watch any of my videos? For Christ's sakes! No, I've only had one, Johnny. I don't know. Have I had more than one here, though? Maybe. But I only own one. I've only bought and owned one. Yeah, thank you, Ogre Lord. Thank you. I was literally playing one last week. Like... What? Will I ever get any cats? I'll give it some serious thought. That was my response when I first got on YouTube, and I would respond on in the comments. It's like they'd come on there, dude, you should buy a Strat. And I'd always go, I'll give it some serious thought. Owning like probably 10 Strats at the time. Will I ever get a Rosewood Telly or a Rosewood Strat or an Ibanez? I'll give it some serious thought. I know. What do you do with the headless guitar? But what about the brand? Concerned about the chip and the tube shortage? Not really. Doesn't really affect me directly. I'm not in the market for anything that really covers that. I'll let you know. The chip shortage that I've been experiencing has been going on for an extremely long time, and that is the video card shortage. That's been going on almost about 2 years now. So, a good 18 months. It's kind of sucked. That's the only chip shortage that's really affected me. Because, I wouldn't mind sprucing up, getting myself a nice 3070 Ti or something like that, but I'm not going to pay 2 to 3 times MSRP. They're available. They're out there, but people want you to pay like literally double or triple what they bought them for, because they use some sort of bot to get them somehow for retail. I'd buy a Mac, except it runs the Mac software, which blows. The last time I bought a PC, I got like an 8-core 16-thread with a 2060 and all SSD, terabyte, all Gen 4 times 4. I mean, we're talking like pretty good stuff. And with dual 1080p IPS monitors, that whole system was like $1,400. That system on a Mac would be like $7,800. I built a Hackintosh. I'd never pay their hardware prices. They're ridiculously inflated. I did build a Hackintosh, and I was like, where's the right click? Where's my right click menu? It's like I'm so locked in on Windows. It would be a big learning curve for me to switch over to the Mac. And it would be a massive productivity loss for me. And I can't pay the Apple tax. The same system I can buy for a PC that costs $1,500, Mac wants $4,500, maybe even $6,500. It really is a bit of a joke. And then they come out with the Mac Mini with an M1. I'm like, okay, that's cool. It's got like 32 gigs of RAM and like a terabyte of storage. They're like, no. No. We're thinking 256 gigs of storage, and maybe 128 gigs and like 8 gigs of RAM. 8 gigs of RAM? Really? 8 gigs of freaking RAM? I haven't built a system in the last 3 years that doesn't have 32 gigs of RAM. My next system might even have 64 gigs of RAM. And that system with 32 gigs of RAM. In fact, I built a system last year for around, I guess it was around about $800 or $900. i5, 10th gen, again, all Gen 4, getting 7, gigabit, roughly, it can move like 7 gigabytes of data per second off the main drive. Just the built-in graphics and, 2.5G Ethernet and, a 4K, 27-inch IPS monitor. Again, Mac can't, and it's 60 and 32 gigs of, DDR4. I think it's 3600 RAM when you run it with XMP. That same system on a Mac would be like literally 4 times the cost. And then the other thing is that when you don't have a lot of RAM, you page file. Now, granted, the page file is very fast, right? Because you're using a very modern SSD, so it can read and write. But there's only so many read and writes on that friggin' drive. Period. And, you get something with not a lot of RAM, and you're trying to open up a big file in, Final Cut Pro, your 4K video file, something that my Windows computer just tears through. I think you're going to be doing a lot of page file access, to work with that kind of data. And that's a lot of read writes off. That's a lot of I/O, which it'll feel fast because it is a fast, but there's a finite amount of read writes on the, on those chips, unlike RAM chips. I agree, Michael. I think 16 gigs of RAM is the absolute bare minimum today. That's what always pissed me off about Apple. Yeah, I want to buy the new iPad. Okay, well, we have the 32 gig model, or for $200 more, we have the 128 gig model. And it's like, that's why I hate you. I work with computers. I've worked on a few computers. I was literally teaching freaking computers how to deck. I've probably done, geez, 100 system builds. At least it feels that way. And I worked in IT for years. You think guitar tones are limited and only fit certain genre of guitar? Well, certainly certain genres lend themselves to certain guitars. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's hard to do surf on a Les Paul. I just feel like it needs to be a single coil, sort of like Strat style, or an offset. It's like it just feels like that's the right fit for that. Now, it could just be because no one plays Les Pauls when the surf people. You're right, and maybe it's perfectly fine, but I don't know. It doesn't feel like the right fit. You know what I'm saying? Been in IT for 30 years. Yeah. Yeah, I've built a few compact ProLiant servers. We need a ProLiant built? Sure. Where's your NT disk? Let's get going. A lot of computers use 32 and 64 bits for memory addressing. 64 bits gives you more combinations, and so you have more unique values, right? How many combinations can you get with 32 bits? Well, a certain amount. How many combinations can you get with 64 bits? A lot friggin' more. A lot more. And that allows you to scale up and address a lot. That's why on a 64-bit system, you can run 32-bit software, but you can't run a 32-bit driver because the driver has to be able to address the memory registers and directly. Your old-fashioned DMA. And that's a problem if it can't see all 64 bits. It can only see 32 of them. It's a big problem because then the operating system can't allocate it correctly. It can put it in a register that the driver doesn't see, doesn't understand. Try and do a surf riff. It's more like the metal version. No drivers for Mac? Of course. Well, there's drivers out there, but if you want the most amount, really there's no drivers for Linux. Right? That's the one that really has a hard time having a driver made for it. But there's drivers for Mac. Most makers will make a Mac driver. But the biggest hardware support by far is Windows, because it's on 92% of computers. It's a winning number. Thoughts on the Ibanez AZ's? I haven't seen it. I'll check it out for $2.99. That's a good price. I like the price. You need a big pot of boiling water. Exactly. All right, Maggot Brain by Funkadelic. They probably played it when I saw them. I saw Funkadelic Well, actually, I saw George Clinton in the P-Funk All-Stars. But they played, it was the Orpheum Theater. Linux on paper is a really good operating system. The problem is it just can't, it's so fragmented. When nobody owns it, when everybody owns it, nobody owns it. And that's the problem. It's just way too fragmented, and it's hard to get support. The thing about Microsoft is that they work with manufacturers to make sure drivers are ready. And Windows 10, pretty much ever since Windows 7 was pretty good at downloading, drivers. But Windows 10 would install like the actual driver from the friggin' website with all the background support and everything. Normally it would do sort of like a plain driver, right? But you wouldn't get all the bells and whistles that if you went and installed the driver from the website, you would get like, better app, right? You get some sort of background app to work with it, all this stuff. But 10, they pretty much, did that. And same with 11. 11 does the same thing. But 11 is frustrating. Why can't they just leave things alone? It's like they're so like freaked out that the whole world is going to some sort of touch screen that they just can't figure out that touch screens blow. The mouse is a really, really good input tool, and it's not going anywhere, whether it's a trackball or a mouse. That whole system, it works. There's a reason why it's stuck around for all these years. It friggin' works. So, we'll see. Microsoft is sometimes a little too cheeky, They're so petrified about touchscreens taking over the world. It's like don't worry about that, bro. So, I forget now. Did IBM buy Red Hat? I think Red Hat got bought up. That was the big one when I was back in IT, Red Hat. And then there was a whole bunch of other, distros that were Slackware and all these, But I only used, I used Ubuntu, a little bit. That was they tried to, but even Ubuntu couldn't, again, they were like, we're going to do it. We're going to turn Linux into friggin' Windows. And they put in a big effort, but even they, I think, just got wore down by the whole thing. The whole thing just sort of reminds me of BOS, right? It sort of runs and it's sort of neat, but there's no apps and there's no hardware support. So, what are we doing again? You've got mail, I know. I tell you a distro that I really liked. I think there was Mandrake, but I think they even had like a magician. There is a magician named Mandrake. I'm pretty sure he sued. Pretty sure he won. They changed it to Mandriva. That was a pretty good install. Mint is pretty good. I have a computer from like 1998. An old laptop. I was running Puppy Linux because it's so friggin' light. It's like the lightest distro out there. And then the same with a netbook. Remember that crap? Right, that Gap, the netbooks, garbage. I have like a Dell, like little mini netbook. Runs like an Atom, 32-bit Atom processor. It maxes out at 2 gigs of RAM. Again, it's made for Windows XP, but of course you can't even get Windows XP anymore, so you got to throw something on it. Like I stuck an SSD in it, and I maxed out the RAM to 2 gigs. It's a non-serviceable machine, but you can pull it apart and get the motherboard out of it. The RAM is on the other side. You have to pull the whole front of it off, the whole friggin' keyboard out, everything out, get the whole motherboard out, and then turn it over, and there's the RAM on the back. Put in a new card, 2 gigs, SSD, throw it all back together again, and it still ran like shit. And Poppy Linux, again, came to the rescue, gave it a little bit of life. But even that, it's like, how long are you going to run that system for? Yeah, netbooks were kind of a stopgap measure for like until tablets, right? I remember Corel Linux. Corel went all in on Linux, and boy, that blew up. Corel made a version. Was it Corel that made a version of their products for Java that was really garbage? I'm trying to remember who was that one that embraced Java. And Java really isn't written for that. Java's for simple stuff. Java's really good for hardware control. Remember yelling at your sister not to pick up the phone? I was online. Oh my God. Getting call waiting and then having to disable call waiting so you could make a data call. God, I'd be on for like friggin', forever. You Hackintosh the netbook? Yeah, so did I. A Dell Mini 10. Little Dell Mini 10. It was a good one. It had a very similar hardware footprint to what they were using, and that's the exact model I used. Was a Dell, I think it was like the Mini 10N or something like that. It worked. It booted, but it ran out at Snow Leopard. Couldn't do anything beyond Snow Leopard. Because I think then they required 64-bit, and it's a 32-bit Atom chip. I did, Boris. I had a Commodore 64. That was my first computer. I remember one time I had a term paper due. And man, I was like sweating it out because I hated, and I mean hated, typing on a typewriter. I always guessed wrong, and I was never conservative enough. So I'll always be like, I can fit this word. And then you're typing, you're trying to fit in a dash at the end to hyphenate the word. God, it would make me mental. I hated typing on a typewriter. And some people would say, this has to be typed, And I just remember going downstairs after we had that computer when been playing games, and I could have sworn we had like a word processor or something, and I looked through the disks, and sure enough there was a word processor in there, and we did have hooked up to it a little dot matrix printer, right? And they were like printing out like little, we had like a sign maker or something, right? And I opened up that word processor software and typed out my report and printed it, and I was like friggin' beside myself, like, oh, this is what a game changer. Just keep typing, look it over. Oh, I made a mistake. Like, read over the hard copy, go back in and change it. Like, was just mind blowing. This is like I was still in high school. It's like 84, 85. And then in 86, my dad scored one of the original IBM PCs. It had already been out for like 3 years. And he got one used, but the guy didn't have any software or discs. And it was probably stolen from an office. And I remember telling like I was taking a computer class at the time. And I remember telling my professor in college, I said, I've been using a Commodore 64, but my dad just got an IBM PC, but we don't have a way to even boot it. He's like, don't worry, I'll get you disk. And the next time we had class, he brought me in like MS-DOS, like 3.2. I was like, oh, thanks. And boom, I was able to boot. I got a little bit of, went down to the local store, picked up a little bit of software, and my dad scored, it was the craziest thing, a daisy wheel printer, right, which is basically a glorified typewriter, right, it has a wheel that spins around, daisy wheel printer, but it would bang wicked loud, bang, 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 bang. And I remember finishing a term paper at like 2 o'clock in the morning and hitting print, and that thing going off like boom, 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 and just sitting there. The other one was nice and quiet. This thing is kablooey. I'm like, oh my God. And, but it looks stunning. I remember bringing it in, showing it to a teacher. I said, yeah, I just got this new printer. What do you think? He goes, that looks amazing. Yeah, it was like 86. And then 87, I'm still using the IBM PC. And then 88, an Amiga store moved in across from a Commodore store, moved across the street from the music store. I remember going over there, and they had a new computer, the Commodore Amiga. And I have to admit, compared to my IBM PC, it kind of blew it away. And, graphics-wise, everything. And I found myself, the summer of 88, I picked up an Amiga 500, which is right there. See it? People are like, you're going to lose that pick. I'm like, dude, this is a Richie Rich comic book from 1977, and that is my Amiga 500 from 1988. I don't think I'm going to lose the pick. We never had the tape recorder, which was abysmally slow. We got the disk drives for the Commodore 64. We never had the cassette. We did have drives. That's one thing we did have. And we had a printer. And my IBM, I had the dual drive, dual floppy disk. And I want to say 128K of RAM. Sounds about right. I don't have a power supply for it. The power supply broke, and I think I threw it away because the power supply cooked, right? It burned up. And so I don't have the power supply for it anymore. But I heard you can buy one. I heard you can buy a power supply for it. So I've just held on to it for nostalgia, but quite frankly, I run the Amiga emulator, Win UAE, right? Ultimate Amiga Emulator. And it works great. One of the first, the game I bought the day I bought the Amiga, the guy's like, well, you're going to want to have a game. I was like, what do you got? And I bought the Three Stooges game, which is featured in one of the, if you want to see the screenshot of the Three Stooges game, Mel Gibson plays the game in one of the Lethal Weapon movies, right? Yeah, dial-up bulletin board. I remember I used to dial Bix. Remember Bix? CompuServe. Connect to a higher power. Oh, I'm bringing the ads back, bro. Prodigy. Oh, let's pull all the old services out. CompuServe, Prodigy, Bix. What am I missing? Right? The Byte Information Exchange. That was Bix, right? AOL comes later, bro. AOL hasn't even started yet. Dude, AOL is in 1992? Right? Maybe 1990, by 94? Certainly by 92. I'm thinking more 87, 88, 89, 90. you know. Am I self-taught on the guitar? No. I've taken a lot of lessons. AOL was 85? We didn't have it. And I remember AOL in the 90s. But in the 80s, it was really CompuServe, Prodigy, and Bix. Oh, yeah, I used to hang out on IRC as well. Internet Relay Chat. Oh, sure. Actually, one of the guys who was a part of the internet recently died. I think it was the guy who came up with the packets idea, right? To deliver things in packets. That way, there would be error correction. If you were missing a packet, you could request the packet again. And it allowed for packets to go over. If it got blocked in one place, the packet could go another way. So it was the guy that decided who sort of invented the whole packet system for TCP/IP. Right? Because who was the competitor? Token Ring, right? Wasn't that the big IBM's Token Ring? But and then NetBEUI. Was it NetBEUI? No. What was that one? There was a friggin' company that owned friggin' network connection. And they lost it to TCP/IP and Open Standard. Oh God, I forget what that was. Yeah, IPX. Was it IPS SPX? Yeah, IPX Netware had the whole corporate world, like right there. They friggin' had it. Oh my God, Netware. Yeah. And they lost out. They lost out to friggin' TCP and open source, right? TCP/IP. Sorry. We have a cat behind me? No cat behind me. Cat right there, though, buddy. Yeah, we used to set up, we'd set up a couple of NetBEUIs. Bubba Bowie. NetBEUI. Yeah, SPX, IPX. Yeah, exactly. Let me just boot up my OS2 Warp and connect to my Token Ring hub. Oh, God. Yeah, CompUSA, and then the other one was what? Computer City? I thought I talked about that new Ibanez Asus for $299. I haven't played it. It's hard to give thoughts about something I haven't seen or played. Oh my God, Microsoft Bob. No, even worse than Bob. Bob was just a cover for like Windows 95, right? Or even Windows 3.2, right? Microsoft Bob. No, I think the worst was ME, right? Windows Me. That was just absolute. I'm trying to think if there was another one in between that was even worse, but I don't think so. I think Windows Me was the worst one. A lot of people complained about Vista, but I had a powerful computer and my computer worked. I had a nice video card. I had no problem with Vista. Vista ran fine. A problem is that they approved Vista and the new video system for a lot of systems that really shouldn't have never been approved for it. And a lot of computers left, CompUSA and Computer City with, pretty shitty performance. Emmy was just absolute. Windows 98 Second Edition was actually pretty good. It was a major boost, and quite frankly, really helped that whole TCP/IP stack. Windows SE was much better than Windows 98. But really, they all kind of paled compared to Windows 2000 and Windows. I was on 2000 pretty much right before it came out. I had a pre-release. I was on what's that, MSDN, right? So you get everything. I kept getting that cost my company probably friggin' $8,000, and I would just get so many boxes of CDs. They're like, here's the beta version of this, here's the beta version of that. I got like the enterprise level of the friggin' MSDN, and man, they flood you with content. Thoughts on the new Ibanez Hayes says for $299? It kind of sucks, bro. Did you know that guitar raped a bunch of kids? I'm just saying. I hope you didn't buy it, because that guitar's pretty sick, and not in a good way. Well, it's because Windows 9 sounds like Windows No in some languages. I got way more blue screens of death when I had Windows 98, when it was really just a shell on top of DOS, right? All the Windows up until Windows 2000 is a shell on top of DOS, period. Right? It has to boot DOS, and then it boots an environment in DOS. So you don't really get a real operating system until you get to Windows NT, Windows 2000, Windows XP. Right? That's all that lineage. Much, much more robust and a real friggin' operating system compared to Windows 95. Exactly. Win 9. I remember booting up Windows 95 like 6 months before the release. I got a beta copy. I just remember booting that up and just being blown away and being like, wow, this is actually pretty slick. Yeah, I know, great band name, Blue Screen of Death. It's probably been done. It feels like that name should already be used by somebody. Yeah, MSDN. I was on the old MSDN. That was in like 1999, 2000. I remember getting Windows 2000 like preview, and then the final Windows 2000. Yeah, NT4 was pretty rock solid. God, I remember hooking up with a friend and sitting up an NT server in like one of the classrooms, and then like making a bunch of network systems, and of course it was all the old BNC connectors, right? God, what garbage. I mean, was it 10 megabit probably capped out at? Or was that even 1 megabit that it capped out at? I forget. But, yeah, those old BNC connectors. And I remember we had the office wired for Ethernet. What a massive project. Yeah, they were really touchy, right? Like, don't move your computer, for Christ's sakes. Oh, yeah, and the old SCSI drives. SCSI was pretty good. BNC, it was kind of like a coax, but it had a bayonet connector. It wasn't a, right, it wasn't a thread mount. Yeah, coax, thin net, exactly. It got much better when, hey, what's up, Gary? Yeah, exactly. When one BNC got unplugged, the whole network went down. For Christ's sakes, don't unplug it. Yeah, exactly. You take down a whole segment if you weren't careful. No, that's true. That's right. I forgot about that. Boy, that really did suck, huh? Because it needed to have a constant signal going through, right? Like Christmas tree lights back in the day. Right? One bulb goes out, and then they're all gone. Yeah, I thought XP was pretty good. A lot of people really liked XP. It was kind of a play school interface, but it was rock solid. It was pretty rock solid. I never really had blue screens once I switched over to the NT architecture. Once I was on, and it started with Windows 2000. I was never on NT. I went Windows 2000 and then Windows XP. I was on XP forever. And then I did Vista. I had no problem with Vista. I did 7 in 10. And I have 2 systems on 11. And everybody else is on 10. And I tell you, 11 is frustrating. It's annoying. I hate it when they get all friggin', too many board meetings. Stop sitting around with whiteboards going like, how can we streamline even better? I know. Why don't we take all the muscle memory people have developed for the last 10 years and throw it right in the toilet? And have a whole new set of menus. But these will be better menus. And you can click another menu and go to even more menus. It's like, this is not good. This is not better. This sucks. Yeah, 11's kind of garbage. It runs fast. It's pretty stable. It's good, really good at loading drivers. I'll say that. It's like rock. In fact, I did a build for a friend of mine's son, and when we had Windows 10 on it, before we updated to 11, it had one piece of hardware I just couldn't figure out. As soon as we updated it to 11, boom, all done. There's a few times when I just want to find something in Windows 11, and it's like I'm running around. You know what they want you to do? They want you to go and do a search, but it's like I don't want to have to reach over and have to type into the keyboard every time. It's like I just want to click. I just want to click, 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 and I'm done. But they've hidden a lot of shit. It's annoying. It's frustrating. I really wish they would just have a modern mode and a vintage mode. Just let me stick with my old interface. Because a lot of times, so I'll give you a great example. You right click on the desktop. It used to be you would have all context sensitive menus, a bunch of stuff. They took away everything except for cut, copy, and paste, a handful of other things. They actually brought a couple of the menu items back, like personalized and display settings. But then you have to go to more options to really get what we used to get. Why can't you just leave that menu? Why do we have to go to more options to get the menu that we used to get just with one click? That's 2 clicks instead of 1. That's not an improvement. It's a little backwards. Again, too many board meetings. I know exactly. They want you to use a search box. Why do they want you to use a search box? Because they probably record and keep track of what you're searching for. It's a little telemetry going on there. And search box, when you type in with search box, that's much easier data collection than you just clicking around with your mouse. Again, hey, what's up, metalhead hippie? Boom, bro. So again, that's why they're pushing you there. That's why they're making certain things frustrating to find. It feels like it's just to push you to the search box. You know. Same here, Christopher. It's funny. I do the same thing. I get rid of the search box too. I'm like, who wants this big old search box there? Not me. See ya. Too funny. Well, it's 2:40 here. I think, yeah, exactly. Too many chefs. I swear to God, it's just people that have to justify their salaries at these big corporate places. They did it with Office. Office was fine, and then they're like, well, then we're going to do the ribbon. It's like the ribbon was more work. You had a bunch of streamlined menus. Actually, I will say that Windows Firewall is actually pretty damn good. I've had good luck with Windows Firewall. And it's good. It's always asking me, this app wants to use the firewall, yay or nay. I like it. My wife's company, they've moved completely off of Office, and they're 100% on Google now. So that's a little bit of a disruptor. I mean, I don't think Microsoft is sweating it too much. They had like one of their most profitable years ever, and their Azure product is doing pretty well, and their cloud services are doing great. But yeah, I get they have to be feeling the encroachment from Google to their Office products, without a doubt. I don't like the ribbon either. Who does not like the ribbon? Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. They all feel like they have room for improvement, but you know what? I swear to God, the best version of when was it? I think it's like Office 2003. Right, that was the last one with just regular menus and regular icons, and it might have even been Office 98. It was like the last good one. Bring back Clippy. Don't you remember when they had Clippy and they had him, I think they had him voiced by Gilbert Gottfried. Yeah, like LibreOffice, right? Yeah, it looks a lot like Office 2003, the last good one. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's right. They had the dog too. Right, the dog. Oh my God. Oh. I know it's very late for me. It's 2:43 a.m. All right. Yeah, buddy's giving me a look now. He's like, "Are we wrapping this up or what?" And I'm with him. All right, bud. We're gonna do this. All right, dudes. I'm off. Have a great night. I will see you dudes in a week. And there you go. Have a great week. I'm hoping the studio tour is coming out this week. Try to wrap up all the stuff and by Monday. And then we'll shoot it and have it out by Wednesday or Thursday. And there you go. No, you rock. All right, dudes. Have a great night. We'll talk soon. And there you go. Later.